Hi, it's Noah Kane, your SEO consultant. Thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. Let's dive into today's video where we talk about how it's never been easier to waste money and time on backlinks. Now, if you're an e-commerce brand or sell products direct to consumer, or even if you're a local service business, you know that backlinks are still arguably one of the most powerful ranking signals you can have on Google. And while that's true, many tactics that SEOs use don't move the needle when it comes to backlink building in today's SEO climate. Let's break down what I mean by that. For example, websites that have a Right For Us page. Now, obviously plenty of websites that are reputable and have great content, valuable content on the web, do real coverage of different news and things, real interviews, have collaborators and contributors who write for their websites, right? Many of those websites may have at one time used the phrase Right For Us, but in today's world, there are many websites that have those Right For Us pages, and really they're just content farm websites. They're just creating content, really low quality content that's only designed to try to rig the Google algorithm to get content to rank, to get traffic, to make money off of ads. It has become such an overwhelmingly used method for getting new articles onto websites because so many people are trying to build backlinks that the value of those Right For Us websites has plummeted. It has just become too easy to get those types of backlinks. And not only that, those sites tend to not have as much value as they used to. So you're just wasting time and money there. If you have anyone on your team reaching out to those websites, if you're paying someone to do that outreach and to write that content, you're likely wasting money on those types of backlinks. The next type of backlink you want to avoid right now are from websites that have been negatively impacted by recent algorithm updates. And when I say recent, that could be as far back as the past year or two. In recent memory, we can think of the HCU update, the helpful content update, right? There have been some spam updates, etc. And if you go back, if you pull up Ahrefs, and you can actually see on the timeline, on the main overview for many websites, you can see the timeline of when there was an update with Google as far as the algorithm, and then when people's traffic went up and down on that chart, as you can see here. And when you see that, when you're analyzing a website, when you're doing some research to determine, is this a good backlink partner for us, for my brand, for my website, or if you're doing any client outreach, you want to stay away from these websites. It's very clear that they've been negatively impacted, and that you cannot trust that this website is operating in a way that's being trusted by Google. That doesn't necessarily mean that the website's bad, right? But at the end of the day, if Google doesn't trust the website, you shouldn't be getting links from that site, and you want to stay away from those sites. Another type of backlink you don't want to get right now are from websites that have a majority of their traffic coming from non-English speaking websites. Now, obviously, this is a recommendation for businesses that are more in the US or Canada, even brands that might be from the UK, right? But for the most part, those are the types of clients that I work with. So obviously, if you are a brand that's, in India, you might want backlinks from Indian websites, right? Obviously, that's very clear. But for most of my clients and people I'm speaking to, your websites are in North America, in the US, Canada, or in the UK. You want your backlinks coming from websites where the majority of traffic is coming from the same country that your brand exists in, that your business exists in. If you're noticing that your SEO provider is giving you links and majority of that traffic is coming from India or the Philippines or elsewhere, it's likely that that link is not very valuable, could even be harmful to your website. So stay away from those types of backlinks and those websites as well. Another thing I've seen pop up recently, and it's actually kind of surprising, there are still people leveraging content sections and comments on blog posts and also forum comments. These are not helpful for SEO. It's a big waste of time to do that type of outreach. Now, you might say, well, I've seen, this Reddit post or Quora post or this forum here or that forum here send a lot of traffic to my website or send a lot of traffic to some other person's website. That is definitely true. That does happen. But those things happen organically from people who have used your product, used your brand, and they're organically sharing things, and it just takes off on that platform. But if you're spending time just trying to go out and spam different comment sections and forums, stay away from that. It's still a thing I see get recommended by people online, and it just does not work very well. It's not worth your time. You also want to stay away from websites that just scream that they're spam. There used to be a time where you could just get as many links as you want, Doesn't really matter where they come from. But now if you go to a website and a bunch of ads pop up, the content is just all over the place as far as what niche it targets, what is the purpose of this website. If it's very clear that it's just for SEO purposes, you want to stay away from building links there. In the past, those links have worked for people, but right now they just don't work. You're going to be wasting time and money and resources on those types of links, even if they're easy to get. And really the big thing right now is they can't be easy backlinks. And the same goes for this last recommended backlink to stay away from, which are, I'll put in quotes, guest posts, right? This again ties back closely to the right for us types of websites. If you're just doing kind of generic random guest posting, that's not going to be helpful in today's climate. It is helpful if you're able to contribute in a meaningful way to a website that is a valuable website. Certainly go ahead and make those contributions. I wouldn't call that a guest post, right? That's why I'm putting it in quotes, because when we think of guest posts, it really is just kind of like some blah, whatever content that's just for getting that backlink. Whereas you might have opportunities to contribute to a site and get some valuable links while also providing value to the website. And that's a little different. And you should be able to discern and understand what that difference is in today's world. If you can't, you need to spend some time thinking about things. So with that being said, those are the backlinks you want to stay away from. Now let's talk about the backlinks that are working in today's SEO climate and for many of the brands I'm working with. If you're able to get link insertions into existing content where you're adding value to the post. So let's say there's a post that covers the best this or the best that. They've already linked to maybe some of your competitors or some related posts, or maybe they haven't linked to any of your competitors, but they're talking about the services you offer, etc. If there's a way for you to provide some data, a quote, any sort of value there, right? And then they add a link back to you, that is a great way to get a backlink in today's climate. Getting those types of link inserts. They're not the traditional link inserts where we're talking about getting a link insert from a nonsense website that we just mentioned we don't want links from, right? It's easy to get those type of link inserts. It's much harder to have the outreach done where you're getting link inserts that add value in some capacity, and it is adding value to the reader or the searcher. All right, so another type of backlink that works really well in today's SEO climate are backlinks that go to your homepage. Now, for a while, and this is going to sound kind of funny, it did seem like people were getting less interested in building those homepage links. I really think because they're just kind of less attractive, less sexy. But homepage backlinks work really well, and they're really undervalued right now. Another thing to think about here is that the types of links you're going to get built to your homepage tend to be less risky, a little bit safer, and you're just putting yourself in a better situation to where you're less likely to get a penalty from Google or any sort of type of negative SEO impact from building these types of links. That just comes with the nature of the type of links that you and the approaches you might take to get those homepage backlinks. So really encourage people to focus on those homepage links right now because they're safe and really effective, especially if your site structure is set up in a way to where that homepage authority is spreading nicely across the rest of your website with appropriate internal linking. This feeds into the next type of link that I'm recommending people build right now, which are branded entities, directories, any sort of business profile, listing, citation, press releases, those types of things. Now, many of these links are going to be no follow links. In many cases, some of them will be do follow, but I do find that more and more Google is emphasizing the brand. So if your brand's not showing up in places where most brands similar to yours, where most of your competitors should be showing up, it could be as simple as having all your social profiles in line. If you're a local business, having the right listings and citations, accurate information, all of that. The easier it is for people to find your brand and the more entities that exist that highlight your brand across the web, those links are powerful whether they're do follow or no follow. The next type of backlink that works really well right now are thought leadership backlinks or thought leadership content. And basically what that is there are journalists out there that are writing on various topics, many that are writing within your niche. The problem is it's just difficult to get in contact with them, difficult to know when they're writing on something where you can collaborate. So there are tools that we use and ways to reach out to these journalists to understand when they need help with an article. And so we stay on top of those journalist requests, and we do outreach to them to say, hey, we have a client in this niche. Let us know if there's a way we can provide a quote, provide some value here, provide any data, so that way they can make a better article for wherever they're writing that piece. And that thought leadership content is helpful because, again, kind of feeds back into our first item on this list of the helpful links, is where you're adding value, right? So if you can provide someone with a quote with value, that's never going to be perceived as spam. You are helping make a better search experience, a better article, etc. And it's very natural for someone to provide a quote and then have a link go back to their website. So those are very helpful links to build. You've probably heard of Help a Reporter Out and services like that. Now, while Help a Reporter Out has fallen off a little bit with its quality, there are still other ways to go about getting those types of links and finding those opportunities. And it's something we take advantage of with our clients as well. The next item on my list is creating content that incorporates data. Now, for some clients, this can be pretty difficult. It is hard to find unique data that is relevant to your niche and your products and your brand. But if you are creating blog content, if there's a way for you to source data or leverage data or even quote data from other articles that have already posted it, now you should still reference back to that information, right? You don't want to just grab that data and say, hey, this is our data, right? We're providing this as the first source for this. You still want to refer back to that. But by adding that data into your blog posts and your content, there's a chance that, another journalist who's writing on that topic is going to come across your blog post, assuming that it's ranking well because you've done other SEO work. And then they might, give you a backlink because they found your post helpful and useful in that way. So I highly recommend using data whenever you can. Again, a little bit more difficult to do. And then the last one I'm going to recommend here is any sort of product reviews. And this can be reviews for, e-commerce and direct-to-consumer brands where it is, reviews of the products you're selling, but also people physically reviewing your products. If they can make video content in particular, right, and post that to YouTube and share that, and then they have a link maybe from their website that they have related to their YouTube channel, that type of content is huge right now because you're just covering more of the search experience, right? People might be going to YouTube and they see, oh, this third-party person is reviewing this product I'm buying, and your website's getting a backlink maybe from both the YouTube post and also from the person's website. And all this is working together to build a really positive synergy for your brand. Obviously, people leaving reviews on your products pages and on your website is helpful because it helps with your review schema on your website as well, which will help with rankings. And then anyone who's doing, product roundups and those things, you want to be careful with how you manage those, right? But they still can be very valuable. We've seen recently websites like Forbes and some other major players get negatively impacted by manipulating their domain authority, basically, to have those types of posts where they're doing product review roundups on products that don't make sense for Forbes to have those reviews of, right? So you should still try to partner with websites that make sense, not just the one that's the most authoritative. And at the end of the day, that's, one thing that I say to a lot of my clients is don't always focus on just domain authority and domain rating. While it's really helpful, it can be manipulated in a multitude of ways when it comes to SEO. So those are the types of backlinks, again, I'm recommending. So let's just review this real quick. We have link inserts where you're actually providing value to the post, the homepage backlinks, your branded entities, directories, listings, etc., press releases, thought leadership content, any content you can produce with data, and then those kind of product review pieces, especially if you can get the person to do a video review and share that across the web as well. Now, the biggest takeaway from everything we've reviewed today is that backlinks need to be helpful in the current SEO climate. It's helpful when you post links to a relevant brand in a post. It's helpful to make it easier to find your brand. Thought leadership, data, reviews, that type of content is helpful to searchers. So it's helpful when people talk about you, right? You can understand. Really focus on how you can get links while thinking about your brand and making your brand more important because you're providing value. So that's the approach I would recommend right now. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. Again, I'm Noah Kane from Noah Kane Consulting, and catch you in the next video.